And look at that, right on time. We're live, 10:35,
Earlier than last week.
It's fine. It's fine. We're here on the pre-show of the Full Nerd, arguably the best part of the Full Nerd podcast. We will be talking about PC hardware topics, but we're going to start the show with you cracking open a LaCroix. This is the cherry blossom flavor. Is that your favorite?
For a second, I had some flashbacks to a podcast I used to be on where we had to apparently open a can of Fresca every time, and I'm just like,
wait, no, it was like sponsored or something, or no? It was just a thing.
It was like a shtick that the previous host had done, which is okay, but everyone else insisted I had to do it, and I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
Well, now I don't have anything to crack open, so hold on, I'm gonna go get a Liquid Death.
Oh.
Ooh. Diet?
Oh, it's right here in the studio.
Zoom won't let you see what I'm drinking, but it's good too.
Oh. For a second, the way that the light looked, it looked like you're holding a knife, like a paring knife, and I was like, what are you doing, boss?
I just cracked open a Diet Pepsi to join the club, but you can't see it. It's blurred.
Too hot for TV. Also, I forgot to show
wild.
I forgot to show this off last week when I was talking about the AMD Advancing AI event.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us tokens when we registered, and you would trade in a token for a piece of merch. And I was like, I actually kind of like the token better. They're like, really? And I was like, yeah. It says
it's
AMD on one side, Advancing AI 2026.
AI tokens or something.
I mean, that's kind of the joke, But
what's super funny too, though, is that when you pulled that out, I'm definitely dating myself here. I was like, oh, that looks like a Pog.
Oh yeah, Slammer.
Yeah, slam it.
Do you know what Pogs are?
What is a Pog?
Oh,
I don't know this.
This is like, was it 90s toys?
Yeah.
Like there are toys from the 90s where you would just literally have these discs and you would play a game based off of these.
Yeah. Okay. So
is that the thing where you push it down and it like pops up?
No.
Okay.
This is like you had different kinds of Pogs, and then the most important one was the Slammer, the one that you would throw down. And I don't even remember how to play it, but I remember like you had to have the coolest kids at the school had to have a really good Slammer, and that's what you would show up for.
Like the blinged out one or something.
Yeah,
like the RGB
and real thick too. Oh, RGB, come on, come on. We're talking about the 90s here. It was translucent plastic. That's what it was.
We were lucky to get our.
We were lucky to get our. Yeah. Pogs, good stuff. Milk caps, Tim, that's even older than Slam It. Yeah. Anyway, ooh, wow. Somebody in the chat had said I had all the Mortal Kombat Pogs. Officially old. Dang.
Someone was rolling.
I didn't even know they made of Mortal Kombat ones.
This is like pre-Pokemon cards. This is what you guys collected.
It's actually the same era. Yeah. So, anyway, Elena, somebody asked you, what are you drinking? I kind of mentioned it, but
so it is a LaCroix. It is the cherry blossom flavor, which I've had before. I don't hate it, but it's the only one left in the fridge, so that apparently means everyone else does not like it.
I like that one. Yeah.
Do people actually like LaCroix, or do they like drink it out of the pressure of like not wanting to drink water?
Oh, I drink it because it's the only thing available in the fridge right now that is fizzy and also not sweetened.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, why have water when you can have Liquid Death?
What is?
Isn't that going to kill you though?
I've tried it. It's the same thing except for it has got a skull on it.
Oh, okay.
And the flavors that I like are hints of like cola. So this one's like a Dr. Pepper kind of ripoff. They have a Mountain Dew one, a Killer Cola. It's got a skull on it. Would you rather have LaCroix with cherry blossoms on it or a Dr. Death with a skull on it?
I mean, I've been to Japan 3 times already, and I'm trying to go back at some point soonish. So yes, I would prefer the cherry blossom one.
Fair. All right, fair enough. Brad, hello.
Hello, how's it going?
What's going on the East Coast, man?
Not much. It's a beautiful day here for the first time in like a week. It's not raining, so after I get out of this, I'm gonna go enjoy the sunshine a little bit while it still shines.
Nice.
Hell
do
yeah.
you put sunscreen on your head?
Oh no, I never use sunscreen. I'm probably gonna die of skin cancer.
Oh, great.
But
okay.
I grew up in Florida. I never needed it. I have Greek heritage, so my skin I
sucks it
burn
up
the first 24 hours of the first hot day, and then I'm tan the rest of the summer.
All right, there we go. Boom. Do not take advice from Brad.
No,
That's not official advice from Brad.
I'm not a medical doctor.
And yeah, we actually have Glenn, sitting there over by the hamsters on verticals and horizontals, and you're back from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Good times.
Little hot, little humid.
Did you see any
pretty nice.
technology over there?
What did I see? I didn't
No,
see
not really.
too much. No, nothing
Okay.
nothing super crazy. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh man, I bet there's some like really funky stuff over here that's like, super funny or super old, but nah. A lot of turtles though. Saw some turtles, some fishes.
Yeah, sweet. All right, and then you're
Awesome.
back to be on a podcast, and man,
in the dark.
Yeah, in the dark over. Hey,
I know.
Dark
Great
little
day
cave
today.
here.
yeah, it's not too bad over here.
Going from beautiful beaches with clear water to just being like, "Argh."
At least there's AC.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Louis Law says bad advice from Brad. Noted.
mean,
Yeah, it
cancer's
definitely
the
is.
joke.
I make sure my kids wear sunscreen and stuff. I don't.
Ben Baer says advice only applicable to Greeks. Nice. Okay. Skull flavored LaCroix. I like that one. Anyway, I think we should get going because we got stuff to talk about. Oh, okay, Deus, that's pretty funny. But anyway, I'm going to make sure. I think I still have the music loaded, so let me
Is it
test it out here
the
before
new one?
we. Yeah, let me. No, it's not playing. Why is it not playing? All right, so there we go. Okay, yeah, it's working. There we go. I just had
Cool.
to test it. We got interim music for the time being.
How long? How long do we have this one for?
I don't know. He's actively working on the new track, but he started with Expedition Handheld because that was the harder one to nail down. So I think he'll get to the full nerd later. I mean, this one still works. This one still works for now.
I
Nice
love
little
this
pause.
one. It makes me think of playing Cyberpunk. I love synthwave kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, he's good at it. Like whatever he's going to come up with is going to be in the same kind of realm. But I was asking for just a little bit more bass, a little bit more groove to it. This one's kind of like a nice bed. But
This one hits hard, though.
Yeah, you get that the static at the beginning.
I think
I
like
like
if
it.
we're the most level-headed, according to you, podcast for PC hardware discussion
On the internet.
we should have maybe a little bit slightly softer vibes. Just saying, just a little bit, not a ton.
Softer.
You can be
Well-
level-headed and go hard. That's how I
Yeah.
live my life.
Yeah. I'm going to a hardcore show tomorrow,
Hell yeah.
be fun. Anyway, let us get it all ready here. And then we'll get going. All right, we ready? Ready to roll?
Ready as I'll
Yeah.
ever be.
All right,
Born
what are
ready.
we talking about? That's the
Everyone's favorite topic.
question. Oh yeah,
DLSS 5.
yeah.
AI, come on, man.
Okay.
AI.
All right, here we go. Here we go. In this episode of The Full Nerd, we're talking about DLSS 5 reemerges. And also, should you buy PC hardware now or should you wait for prices to go up later?
Ah.
Oh, you're meh. Right with the Stratic. That was good. Also, I didn't fix it so that it's not going to fade out, but that's okay. And welcome everyone to episode 410. That is the wrong button of the Full Nerd Podcast, PC World's premier podcast. Oh man, about offering the most level-headed takes here. You know what? Let me do this again. I'm just gonna do this again. Play the intro again, and there we
Sorry.
go. Okay, take two. Okay, music. Let's build. All right. And welcome everyone to episode 410 of the Full Nerd Podcast, PC World's premier podcast, offering the most level-headed takes on the internet about PC news here on the internet. I said internet twice. I'm your fill-in host, Adam Patrick Murray, but I am not alone. I've got a full crew here today on the line. I've got one, Brad Charkis, coming from the East Coast. Hello, Brad.
Hello, Adam. Hello, Internet.
Yeah.
Full crew for the full nerd. I love it.
Yeah, glad to have you back. Sitting next to me here at the table is my co-host, Elena Yee.
That's me.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, and then good talk. And then over at the producer chair, we got one. Oh no, I didn't put up I messed that one up again. That's fine. Yeah, Glenn Ma.
Hello.
Glenn, you've been in Hawaii, but it doesn't look like you have too much of a tan.
I haven't tanned too much. No.
Yeah.
I wore long sleeves. That helped a lot.
Good sun
Like the swimming shirt.
protection.
Yeah.
Long sleeves in Hawaii.
Well, because then you don't have to put on sunscreen every time you go out. which is kinda
Yeah,
nice.
that's a good
Yeah.
strategy right there.
And because it's like swim stuff, so it doesn't like cling you, and you can just hop in the water. It's pretty nice.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. I dig it. I also need to pause real quick before we get into the topics,
What?
which are pretty good. We're talking about DLSS 5 again. I know everyone is excited about that. And then buying advice, which is always fun as well. But I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that this Saturday, August 8th, we will be back at the Bay Area Electronics Flea Market, not only selling a bunch of PC hardware we have around here. We have people who sent us PC hardware to contribute to the cause. Not only that, we're selling it all for a local nonprofit charity called Tech Exchange. And not only that, we're doing it in the honor of the late, great Gordon Ma-Ung's name. And this is going to be a fun one. I tell you what, this week, we're really hunkering down and putting everything together. And I really think we're going to have like 3 times the stuff that we brought last time.
There's a lot of stuff. Come buy it. We don't want to bring it back.
A lot of stuff. Yeah. So in the mail, waiting for me in our mailroom this morning, there was a box from Russ from Retro Game Core. He sent over some handheld and controller stuff so that we can sell. So thank you, Russ, for doing that. And then also, somebody who's going to remain anonymous sent over some GPUs. Now I'm gonna start piling these out. These aren't only the GPUs, but you know how does an RX 7900 GRE sound? Maybe that doesn't suit your fancy. We got a RX 7700 XT. If NVIDIA is more your jam, we got a Founders 4070.
Wow.
We've got what is this? This is an Asus Dual 4060. We got
good stuff.
an AMD Founders. What is this one? I think, it's on the end here. A 7900 XT. So almost top of the line. We also have a Founders RTX 4060 Ti. It's a little bent. I'm
slightly bent.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll have to put it back. And then I'm not going to bring it out of the box because it's really heavy, but we got a 4090, a Founders 4090. We got an RX 7600, a 7800 XT, and what was the other one we put in that box, Glenn? Was that a 4080?
Yeah, 4080 Founders.
Yeah, so we got GPUs. If you need a GPU, we're going to be selling these at hot deals. Actually, Brad's going to help me price these out. But we're all the money that we're selling here. We got motherboards. We're going to have CPUs this time. We're not going to have RAM. Not going to have any storage. We're going to hold on to that. We got cases. We got all sorts of fun stuff, and all of the money is going to charity. Oh yeah, earbuds.
Yeah, I'm destashing.
Really?
That. Yeah.
Okay.
They're older, but if you have like older relatives who just need wireless earbuds.
Nice. And we have so many cases. Like I think what I'm going to do this time, because we had a hard time moving cases a little bit last time. We had some buyers.
Through a lot of them, relatively speaking.
But like cases aren't a impulse buy kind of thing.
I don't know.
Right?
I felt like the people who were walking out, they were kind of like, "Oh, that's an ITX case.
Yeah.
Can I build something around that? Hold on."
Yeah, a lot of people were looking for smaller cases. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of small stuff. There is some interesting stuff.
Your living room?
Yeah, it's all in my living room. We do have some stuff, but I think what I'm going to do this time is like say, hey, everything's $5. All the cases are $5 unless otherwise marked or something like that. Like we got to move these cases because we got a lot of them, and I don't want to bring them back. Man, this
Give me a quarter. I'll take it.
There you go.
Till the end of time.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So if you are local in the Bay Area or you can get out here for Saturday, then come join us at the Bay Area Electronics Flea Market. I'll put a link in the description, but all you got to do is Google Bay Area Electronics Flea Market. Their website has detailed instructions on how to get there. Did you look at the website?
A little bit, but I mean, I'm also familiar with the area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for anyone who's local to the Bay Area, which is probably going to be everybody or most everyone who's coming to this,
You'd be surprised.
It's down in Saratoga. So, and it's right by West Valley College. I mean, it's actually the parking lot in West Valley College.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to find. There's not a lot of like twists and turns you have to worry about.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. I'm going to be there. Lena's going to be there. Glenn?
I will be there.
Part of the time,
Yes.
at least.
Going to be there, yeah. And I can't remember. I don't think Will's going to be there. I think he might actually be
I
off.
thought he was going to say hi.
I can't remember. He did bring by some old stuff.
That's
So
what it was.
yeah, I think he dropped stuff off. because he's not going to be there. But also at the same time is California Extreme.
Oh, is that
which
where he's going to be?
Well, I don't know if that's where he's going to be, but Steve Lynn, who was there last time, he's going to be at California Extreme because he's one of the people who
Helps make
yeah,
it
yeah,
run.
he's the medic.
Yeah,
the
so he
field
told
medic.
me that he was a field medic, and at the time, I thought, oh, are you an EMT? He said, no, it's for the machines. I'm running around with a soldering iron. I was like, oh, right, sorry.
And a headlamp, yeah. So I'm actually going to go to California Extreme after the flea market.
Awesome.
But yeah, no,
It's a
we're
busy day.
I'm going to have to on Friday rent a U-Haul because last time we were able to fit a lot of stuff in our various vehicles, but this time, nah, we're not.
You and
we're not
Luis
fitting this.
played some very impressive Tetris last time. Is he helping us again? Or?
Oh yeah.
What a
So,
good dude.
No, yeah, Luis will be there. Come say hi. It's going to be good times. Anyway,
It's I just think it's worth throwing out there. Like, if you need a GPU and you're in the area, like, we're not going to be scalping these. So
No, we're doing the
come on
opposite.
down, take a peek. It's all going to a great cause in the, honor of a great person. So
yeah.
go on
Yeah.
down, hang out.
Yeah,
For
last
sure.
time Adam made someone extraordinarily happy with the price that he gave them for a 3090.
Yeah. I was. Yeah, I kind of I lowballed on that one. That was.
I can't
whoops.
guarantee that's going to happen again. I'm just
Yeah.
saying though
I'm
that
gonna go that low again. So
we're not here.
I was just
to,
excited,
Yeah, we're not here to try to make money off of anybody.
I mean, we're
just-
trying to raise money for charity.
We're trying to raise money
yeah.
for charity. That's
But-
different. We're just gonna look at you with big puppy eyes, and like Sarah McLean will be playing in the background. So
Sarah McLaughlin.
yeah, you don't remember? See, Brad knows
Yeah.
what I'm talking
No,
about.
I know. It sounded like you said Sarah McLean.
Oh,
or
sorry,
something.
I
Yeah.
said the wrong name. Yeah, thank you.
It's like,
But yeah,
nice. Gonna be a good time.
you're
Anyway,
a certain age, you'll know what I'm talking about with
Yeah.
these commercials.
I don't know. In the arms of. And anyway, before we get demonetized, I think we should move over to a topic everyone, even Glenn over here is very excited to talk about. That is DLSS 5. The controversial new version of DLSS
Oh, boy.
that was announced. Well, God, that was 4 months ago now, right? It was a GTC.
It was March.
March.
It was, yeah,
It's March.
Yeah. So essentially, Jensen just came out on the stage and was like, "Hey, check this out." And then I had a video and then went through a bunch of stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, really cool stuff. Moving on." And everyone was like, "What the heck is that?" And man,
We hate it.
Sparked. Well, I didn't. I saw it in person.
No, I mean I'm speaking
Yeah.
for most of the collective
the internet. And then it reemerged at Siggraph. And this is actually a little bit of old news. It was about 10 days ago, I think, something like that. But I think none of us got a chance to really
We were
watch the
busy.
presentation until now. So it was like, okay, we should talk about it, go through the presentation. And the first thing that I noted was, well, I guess we should back up. Siggraph, Brad, who are the kind of people that show up to Siggraph?
That's an industry event, special something group, SIG, industry group, I believe. That it's GPU engineers. Graph is for graphics, so GPU folks, especially display engineers, stuff like that. This is where all the scientists and researchers and product developers, product managers go, and they dive deep into the future of what they're working on, kind of showing their work, giving hints. So,
Nice. Real quick, Glenn, can you find the fader that says laptop and push that one up
Yeah.
just a little bit of notch? Let's get Brad in a little bit more. But yeah, so this is for industry people. This NVIDIA gave a presentation there, and it's for the industry once again, kind of thing. And
Yep.
I guess we all watched it, right? I guess maybe Glenn, did you watch it? No, a little bit of it.
GTC?
Oh, no.
the
This
new
was a new one.
No,
Yeah.
the recent one, no, I haven't.
So the first thing I noted was the demos that they showed, because they talked about how it's going to be implemented and showed a little bit of the developer console, kind of thing. But also they did it in their little sandbox environment. This was no third-party games shown. This was all their little NVIDIA playground kind of thing. And I think that was pretty intentional for a lot of reasons.
To be fair, that's often the case. It was the case with ray tracing DLSS, the first gen. Like, they had that awesome Star Wars Darth Vader demo and stuff like that. They tend to roll their own internally.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff did they show off, Brad?
They showed off that there's actually a lot more control over this than some people thought. Developers are going to be able to mask or group certain objects together and have them be affected by DLSS 5 or not. There's going to be 3 different models available. didn't really get into too much detail about what that means, but there will be 3 different models available, I'm guessing, in terms of intensity.
Well, I think it's kind of like how if you ever use Photoshop, sometimes they'll give you 3 different variants. They're like, hey, which one turned out the way you like it, kind
Help
of thing.
train this.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
Yes and
yeah.
no.
I don't. They didn't say they're using the information to get trained back. I mean, obviously they're
supposed
training it on
to,
models, but
but-
they did say each model kind of is trained on different data, depending, and developer essentially can select between the two. But it was also weird because they had intensity sliders, and there was 2 of them, and they explained which one. Which each of them did, and it was really weird because I guess I was hoping for a nomenclature that was a little bit more for I don't know, that kind of made sense. But I feel like
what
the
sense?
slider names,
That's the problem with listening to developer events.
yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, hopefully it makes sense to them, but for me, it's adjusting the image in a way that I'm familiar with in Photoshop or Lightroom or something like that. And I was like, I was like, okay, well, I understand what they're doing, but the name of the slider itself, and I don't remember off the top of my head, was just like, okay, that's kind of one of them's a tone. What was the other one?
They have 2. They have structure, intensity, which is for ambient inclusion and subsurface scattering, and then tone intensity, which is the lighting and the color filters.
Yeah, I think it makes sense if you're working with the stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's just you have to learn the nomenclature.
Yeah. So then you could have it mask out certain things like faces and only affect the faces, or vice versa. Or they had different objects that they were highlighting.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot more control than initially thought.
Well,
Watching it.
Go ahead. Real quick, I'll say this: the guy who gave the bulk of the presentation was actually the guy at the meeting when I saw it at GTC. Really nice guy, and he was telling me that same stuff there. Like, hey, we're gonna have developers have control over these kind of things. They just didn't have a visual to show, the actual UI thing. So I will say that they have been pretty straightforward about developers having control, but this is very explicit in
Yes.
what they have
However,
control over.
I do think for me the most interesting part of that presentation, I mean there are multiple, but what I found very interesting was the presenter before the demoer, for lack of a better term here, how honestly upfront, frank he was about the whole fact that generative AI inherently changes things, right? So that fact that they are coming out and saying yes, we know that it is this is how the AI will behave, that it will inherently try to change, but we are actually trying to create a system where you can tell it hey, don't do that. Stick to these parameters.
Yeah, it's very different from DLSS frame gen or something like that. DLSS frame gen, DLSS basic, which are still parts of this. They up-res things.
Sorry.
Frame gen, it starts, you start getting extra frames inserted in there. This one, but they all use temporal data, especially for frame gen. So the idea is NVIDIA's seeing the data points, this is on this part of this frame, in this part of this frame. We can add some things in the middle and add frames because it'll be in between those 2 points in the meantime. This one's different. It's actually every single frame gets run through this filter by itself. So one of the things that's jumped out to me looking at these demos was, I spoke about this the first time we talked about it, the lighting seemed very intense. And I'm curious to see if that winds up being something you can adjust for, developers can adjust for with the tone intensity, because that handles lighting and color filters, or if it just winds up being a byproduct of being just this one frame, not having any lighting reference to come from and stuff like that. So that's the part I'm interested in seeing in the real
Wait,
world.
could you tease that out just a little bit for me? What part of that, if it not having a reference, is of interest to you?
Not having a reference to the lighting itself, because to me, it drastically changes the lighting in every single one of these. That was the most, not necessarily for better or for worse, I don't know. I haven't played around with it, but it's different. It's brighter. We said that the first time. It looked like you were looking at, the circle plates that you do for Instagram and stuff like that. And I'm just real curious to see if the brighter lighting that we see in these are intended in part of the DLSS model or if it's something that can be adjusted for in the tone intensity. Because to me, the brighter lights add a lot to each scene, but it's definitely much brighter in every demo that I've seen so far.
See,
than the
I
rendered
don't know if the light is brighter. I think it's more like there's actually more shadow depth, because when you have the ambient occlusion, actually in there, and it looks like there's actually depth to it. I would say maybe there's a little bit more of a contrast between what is bright and what is darker, rather than have like
Yeah, that's
even
fair.
the shadow stuff be a little bit darker. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, who knows how granular too? Like they didn't even show all of the controls, kind of thing, and also
They didn't, no.
I
Didn't seem like
I
it.
also even wonder, like, is this how those controls are actually going to look in the implementation? Like, it looked very basic kind of thing. Like, this did not look like an actual working overlay. And also, I think the other thing that I was thinking of too is like, NVIDIA comes out with a lot of interesting technology, but it still comes down to the developer to actually mess around with it. So
Yeah.
like maybe they could say, hey, look, we gave developers all these controls, and then the developer just goes and like turns it on to 100%. It's like, I'm not going to mess with any sliders or masks or anything.
I mean,
like that.
I'm sure it's going to be more nuanced than that. From looking at the presentation, which is maybe 15 minutes, so it's compressing down a bunch of information in a teaser format, basically, and not knowing how truly granular the interface is and all of that. To Brad's point about the lighting, I was actually watching this a few times because I just wanted to go through, like, listen to it, look at the imagery, and kind of like I almost take a survey of myself, like how my opinion was developing, the more like it was kind of like sinking into my brain. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting, and I feel like maybe this is the center point between you, Adam, and like where maybe Brad is with like the lighting position or your positions on the lighting effects, is that to me, it actually sparks this question of what is realism, right? What is realism? Because I was looking at the picture of the elderly Asian gentleman's like ear, right? And so when they have it off, like his ear actually looks a little bit more normal to me, and then they put it on and suddenly there's just like wrinkles for days, and that's a whole other conversation about like how wrinkly do they really think someone's ears get when, even in old age. But but that's what I mean, because for a second I was thinking to myself, wow, that could be like such an interesting argument on the internet, right? Where there's gonna be some people in the camp that say like, oh no, that's like really how the human ear looks at that age, whatever, and let's just say that's true just for the sake of this argument. And then you're gonna have people say like, no, it absolutely doesn't. And then it made me think, like, the thing is that our eyes don't focus that way. I think that's what it boils down to. Our eyes do not focus that way. So maybe it's true, the lighting in that room is accurate to how it bounce off of everything. But I don't think that when we're looking at somebody like that, we are going to be noticing like all the wrinkles on somebody's ear, because that's not what we're usually focused on. We tend to look at the face itself first. Like we might catch these side details if we're looking off to the distance while we're thinking, or like they move a certain way, or just something kind of stands out, and that kind of triggers our brain to focus on that. And then again, it shifts, right? Like then we're not really seeing the face as clearly. And then for me, my perception, which is my reality in a way, right? Like the lighting is not completely as even. I think that's what Brad maybe is pointing out. Right, so that lighting doesn't seem as like universally bright unless I'm in full outdoors, right? Like it's the middle of the day, sun's overhead, then it would be kind of universally that bright. So I think this is going to be very interesting to see the artistic interpretation of the use of these tools, what they think is realism, and when they're presenting that view to their audience, to the gamers, and how we're going to respond to that. So to me, this is fascinating because depending on how granular the tool is, it could be one of those things where you are in MS Paint or you're in Photoshop. Like how much granular control do you get as an artist? And then how do you apply that to what you have? I'm really interested in some of the lighting techniques. I did like, for example, so contrast, I did like the one example where they had that kitchen scene and you see the two bottles, right, with the oils, and they change it. And again, it did seem a little overly bright overall, but that translucency in the liquid, I did think, like that does look a little bit more true to life. That's kind of nice. But it was also that scene that made me think that, if I was busy cooking, that actually would register my brain as kind of dark. right? Until I actually looked at it, then it would look that way. That when they flip DLSS 5 on, or more so, right? So anyway, that was my thought about it, and I'm kind of curious, like how you two see that like intersection between hard, cold reality and, you know, interpretation and art, because I think it just brings up this whole question in general, like what is art, what is real, what is creativity, if you have a tool like this that's trying to just thrust this idea of what realism is, right? Because reality is also subjective in a way.
It was actually funny at the beginning of the presentation. They kind of couched it in, "Hey, we've been working for decades on GPU technology that will push realism further, and now we're stuck because the only way to get there is with more horsepower, more like more pixels, more rays, more all that kind of stuff." So this is how they think they can get to that next step in true realism, is to say, hey, you know what, take all the data that's been generated and force it up to a higher notch fidelity wise, which was kind of interesting. I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
I have a question though. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, please.
Do you think people even care about realism anymore? I don't know. I feel like games have kind of hit a point. I mean, you know, everyone says like, oh, go back to those like older games, they still hold up. And it's like, it's kind of true. Like, you know, video games from, I would say 2017, 2019, like look fine and they're realistic enough. And so like, do people even care about like, oh, well, the next game is going to be even more realistic than the last? Like, is that even like a good selling point?
That's a great question, honestly. I would love to hear your thoughts on it in particular, because we at the table are all kind of the same age-ish, right? And so I think we came up at a time where, because everything was so pixelated, and then we went to polygons and they were so blocky, I think it kind of cemented this thing of like, oh, photorealism, like that's the goal. And so having started your entry point like a different part on the timeline, I'm kind of curious how you, no, I mean, for real though, right? Because like for you, maybe that's not so imprinted on your consciousness of like, oh, that's the overall like arching goal, like that's what we want.
Back in the day, we only had 2D. like we were there for when 3D actually got introduced.
We were even there before.
Yeah, so it was just like, wait, you can make it in 3 dimensions? This is amazing. So, you know, like, yeah, I think it's always been, at least for us, we've always been chasing that high. Yeah, but yeah, what do you think?
I think my take is like visually, games have hit a point where it's like basically it's pretty easy to get realistic graphics. And developers like don't really care about how optimized things are. They just kind of like, oh, make it realistic and it's good.
Oh no,
I think
optimization.
to me,
use the keyword drink.
To me, realism comes in like the simulation of things. Like everybody loves Rockstar games, right? Everybody loves the games because of like, you know, in Red Dead 2, the animals have patterns and behaviors and things like react, you know, like Half-Life Alyx was like super cool because the liquid in the bottle.
I'm sorry.
Wait, I missed that one.
No, just don't say it again. It's fun.
I have to replay that.
Nope, it's fun. If you didn't play Red Dead, you don't know about it.
But you know, like the liquid in the bottle in Half-Life Alyx moved and looked cool, and it was basically like a shader, is how Valve did it, right? And like that was super cool to me. Like that was realistic. And so to me, I think realism comes more in like the simulation and like the physicsy-ness of it, and less so in the visuals now. Like, yeah. So that's what I think. Like, GTA 6, I think, you know, whatever GTA 6 is, I think the coolest part about GTA 6 hopefully will be how it like simulates things and how things like react in the game versus like how good it looks. Because like GTA 6 and GTA 5, like GTA 6 looks better, but you really have to look like how much better, I think.
Well, I mean, they've only really showed, you know,
I mean, like
carefully structured things. So I guess we'll see when the game comes out. I have a real quick follow-up question for you though. Have you ever had like a situation when you were younger where you were like, oh wow, this looks so realistic, I don't think it could get any better? Like I remember seeing Black, which was like a horrible first person shooter game. Early in context now, it was a really bad first person shooter, but it came out on like PS2, and I just remember thinking like, oh goodness, I don't think games could get any more realistic than this. This looks like it's so real. But you look back now and you're like,
Is that the one where it's like little mini sections, kind of like Virtual Cop kind of a deal? Like
no, it was all about the guns and just like realistic gun kind of stuff. And like I remember you would reload, like, so they put so much detail in the gun, you would reload and it would depth of field out the rest. And like, just like, so imagine you're shooting and then you go to reload and the focus goes on your gun and everything else blurs out because they're like, oh yeah, we want to show the magazine.
How do you see this stuff?
Audio
You're
listeners,
like, trying to aim at?
Adam just picked up one of the graphics cards on the table and made it into a handgun.
Anyway, yeah. So do you ever remember that, thinking that as a kid, and then looking back now and being like, oh, you know what? Obviously things could get more realistic than that.
Man, I don't think so. I think to me the point, like, where I played a video game and I was like, wow, this looks super good, was probably like Forza 4. I played Forza 4 and that was pretty good. And Forza 4 still looks good, you know.
Else, yeah.
I remember though, like, was it the Modern Warfare reboot? That was a big thing. Yeah. I remember that was like, wow, look at how realistic, you know, like, look at how many different reload animations there are for this one gun, and like if the thing is like this, or if it's like this and you have this magazine or this attachment, like, that was cool. And that seemed like, I guess, realistic or like believable enough. And like, I like looking back on it, yeah. But if you want to talk about, like, I look back on it and it could have gotten more realistic, like, not really. Like, I played Minecraft and then I played, you know, TF2, and I was like, oh wow, TF2 is so cool. But TF2 is like, it's a
stylist. You know? Yeah, I think that's the hard. I mean, really, what we're talking about is like preference in game types too, because like a lot of people just play the games for games, and they will turn down settings and just try to get the most FPS, right? You know, and then some people like try to get realism or try to get some new graphical feature. We're like I don't know, yeah. So I think it's different. People come to games for different reasons, and I mean, I like that there still is a gamut of all of it, right? I think they are hitting a problem where the big AAA titles, like, to get more and more realism requires more and more people and more years and more money, and they're like, they've kind of stagnated a little bit.
And on top of that, like the kind of stuff like DLSS 5 with its structure intensity, like ambient occlusion and subsurface scattering, that takes a lot of grunt out of a GPU. So that would not be possible in a lot of scenes like that without technology like this.
Yeah.
So it's taken years, but I come to agree with, we've had folks from NVIDIA, we've had Tom Peterson from Intel on here. I think AI and upscaling and all this kind of stuff is going to be a big part of graphics going forward. And we need to figure out a way to make it work for everybody, which I think NVIDIA is trying to do here.
Well, and I also think but to my point, I think it does apply to what you want in gaming, because I think that's the point you're trying to make too, is that you're not sitting there focusing on the character's ear, but half the time when I play games, all I'm doing is just looking at the minute details.
You are looking at everybody's ears.
I'm like, oh goodness, wow, oh my, like, that looks so realistic, or it doesn't, or it breaks immersion, or like you know, I'm like, a cutscene's trying to happen over here, and I'm just sitting there looking and be like, look at the lighting over here, and they're like, hey dude, come on, catch up, and I'm like, oh sorry. So you know, it's just different kinds of games.
I'm also gonna throw another wrinkle in here, just for fun. It's funny because chat is teasing me a bit, and they're like, oh, Elena's being put on a professor hat.
Yeah.
But another thought exercise is everyone's reality is shaped by what they naturally perceive, right? So, for example, I was born a woman, so or assigned that, right? And that means that my field of view is actually a little bit wider, I think, than maybe the average person who is assigned male at birth, right? So when first-person shooters first became really big in the early 2000s, I remember playing them constantly thinking that I couldn't see. Like, I would be like playing Halo and I would think, I can't see bleep. Like, I don't know where things are. And I think for the longest time was the reason why I didn't enjoy first-person shooters. Meanwhile,
that field of view is pretty tight.
But a lot of my friends, mostly male, were like, oh, this is so realistic. This is what it feels like to go through the world. And I remember thinking, like, something's off. And then it came out later, right, that, like, okay, there is this, like, field of view difference. Like, my peripheral vision is probably a little bit wider than my friends are. And I was thinking, oh, okay, so, like, that influences, like, my perception of what reality is. So similar here. is that I don't know if you have heard about this. I might have mentioned it before to you all in the work Slack. There's a thing called, I think it's like aphasia, where there are some people who just can't visualize, right? And there's like the scale that people have that they show, right? Where it's like they ask you to picture an apple. And like depending on how the scale's structured, it's usually 1 to 5, and usually a 1 is like the absolute most detail, right? It's like photographic reproduction in your head of what that apple would look like. And then a 2, you still have a lot of the detail, but you start losing some of it. 3 is like you have the general picture of an apple. 4 is that you have the outline of an apple, and a 5 is just like you just can't really picture one. And I think that's also fascinating, right? So I wonder if that also influences what you think is realistic, right? So when I hear you say that you're constantly looking at the details and like geeking out over how detailed it is, I actually wonder if that's how your brain is able to image things. That when you recall something, you are able to picture it in that detail. Whereas for me, I'm probably more like a 3 on the scale. So like having things like the ear not quite in like full detail tracks for me, because usually I'm looking at somebody's face, and then even when I recall their faces later, I have kind of more of like a outline of it with some detail. So actually sometimes I'm between a 3 and a 4. And so, yeah, I just think this is fascinating. So this is my attempt at level-headed discussion on the internet, where just like before you get on your keyboard and you start flaming people, maybe you should consider how you see the world.
No, good points. Like a couple other notes from the presentation I thought was interesting. One of them was they very much hammer home very early that we want to stress that all this is within the developer's controls. Like,
don't point your flamethrowers at us.
That was obviously part of the presentation to say at the very beginning, we got to say, hey, this is all, within full control developer. The second one has now escaped my mind, but I think it was going to be a good one. So hopefully I remember it. But
now that I see it, in the way they split it up, I didn't have a strong positive reaction the first time. Now I'm definitively more neutral. Like, it might be awesome, it might suck, it might depend on the game. When it first came out, I'm just like, these are all blown out and it doesn't look good. But now that I see the way that they can splice, okay, these things in the back, don't touch them with it. These things in the front, touch this with Model B, kind of a deal. It's just this intensity. I'm more into it because they showed several examples of the elderly Asian man that Elena was talking about, the same model, but with different structure intensity, 25, 50, 75%. And you could see him picking up more wrinkles and doing all that kind of stuff as it went on. And you couldn't get that sort of surface scattering very easily, very high frame rates with the traditional GPU. So now I'm intrigued to see how it all goes.
Well, speaking of that, they didn't talk about performance almost at all, right?
Oh, no.
So I mean,
No,
like, who knows?
It was
right?
like a quick, like I said, it was like a very quick compression of it. Also, I've been corrected by chat. Thank you, Liquid R. It is aphantasia. Aphantasia. There's a T in there.
Yeah. No, that I mean, obviously it's early days. They got to do some stuff. They did hammer home like, oh, hey, this fall, still TBD. The other point that I was thinking of is that, to your earlier point about the wrinkles and things like that, the other thing they really drived home was the artistic intent, and the thing that they kept using was a scar of like, hey, if the artist drew this character to have a scar, we want to make sure that scar isn't taken away, or it's enhanced a certain way.
And that's where the conversation around the whole like generative AI naturally will change things. And so that was part of the discussion where they said that they were trying to keep it contained so that it's still holding true to the developer's vision.
Oh, for sure.
That's why it grounds off of one frame each time. That frame is its ground truth, which is different from the way other aspects of DLSS work.
But once again, they said that same thing at GTC as well. That, hey, the artistic truth is what we're trying to uphold. We're not trying to change anything that's in that frame. They're hoping to maintain the same thing. So like,
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though that when we have more context, like I think it's one thing if somebody just says to you like, no, like that's not going to be a problem, versus when they say like, yes, we know that this is a factor, so we have taken that into account, so that's why we don't think this is going to be a problem. Like even those two approaches, people tend to respond very emotionally differently to it. So I think that's why for this presentation, I was like, oh, that's interesting that they're giving this extra context.
Well, I think that was very intentional too, to try
Of
to
course.
to be
Of
like,
course.
There was
hey,
some
hey,
backlash after the first.
by the
course.
way, artistic intent, artistic
course.
intent, artistic intent. First slide, artistic intent.
But one of the cool things, actually, because we go to NVIDIA briefings and stuff, one of the cool things when you go to big NVIDIA briefings is like CES, Computex, etc. They'll often have a whole room full of demos with the developers there from the studios demoing it, not necessarily just NVIDIA folks. They actually do, I believe, care about the artistic intent.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, like that I kind of want to end on, me personally. I mean, unless there's other stuff, but I think and I think we kind of all feel this too, the GTC drop of that was probably not planned out the way they thought it was going to be. That if they would have launched with this, imagine if this is what would have been introduced, like I think it would have went down way different.
Of course.
Yeah, so like I think this was probably the plan all along. And then who knows, maybe Jensen was like, you know what, I'm going to throw in DLSS 5 in there. And they're like, oh, okay, here we
But
go.
not even that.
It feels like they needed something GeForce to tack on.
Yeah.
AI features.
I also think too, though, that maybe there was just an underestimation of how readily hot the internet becomes over tiny scraps of information. And so for them, it was more like, hey, we're just going to throw this in because we want to mention it, and not really thinking that, oh, in the absence of information, people are going to fill in blanks, with as much wild speculation, or maybe not wild, but some kind of rolling with it in a way that didn't really help with what their vision was for the announcement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either
I'm
way,
a lot more intrigued now that they've given more details. I was negative before. Now I'm curious to see where it goes, and I think it could be beneficial if developers use it correctly.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. At the end of the day, NVIDIA can show all the demos they want. They can, do whatever, but it's really going to fall to the developers to show it off. And I mean, really, I want to see, like, they already showed developers using it, at that original thing. Obviously, those were early tools, so I'm interested to see when it actually does get implemented. How does Resident Evil look with the more time to mess around with it and things like that.
It's never going to happen, but you know what I would love? Glenn was talking about older games still looking beautiful. To me, Witcher 3 is probably my favorite game of all time behind Deus Ex. And to me, 10 years on, that still looks gorgeous. CD Projekt Red and NVIDIA have close ties, man. If they could figure out a way to add this to Cyberpunk, or I would hope Witcher 3, to kind of show off the difference, like, I think that could be a very cool demo.
Well, that's the thing too. Like there is two camps, going back and adding it into something that's been released, but then also having something new come out with it already in there.
I'm just
like that'll be interesting.
I'm just worried when Brad started talking. My first thought was, oh no, not yet another remastered version of a game.
I like remasters.
But having to pay
DLSS
for
5.
it though.
You don't have to with Witcher. They just been letting it go.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine.
These free
Yeah.
updates.
No, when you finished your thought, I was less concerned. But my first thought was, of course, I mean, the bean counters are going to think, oh, if we're going to put in this effort, we should get some money back for it, which, I understand, justified. But I just thought, oh, no, not another remastered. Like, it's like The Princess Bride. How many editions of this can I buy?
Oh, well, but movies are different. Movies are different. Yeah. Like games for a good remaster can take some work, and some remasters suck. Some remasters are
I know,
good.
but I'm just saying, like,
And
there's so
Andreas.
many games out there. I can only afford so many remasters in addition to new games I want to play.
I mean, speaking of remastered, there's been a lot of back and forth on that new Halo campaign involved, and I've been playing it.
Has it dropped already?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and like I'm loving it, but then there's a lot of people who are don't love it and or already sick of Halo or whatever. Anyway, yeah,
Well, I'm curious.
Glenn.
I wonder if, there are developers that have close ties with NVIDIA and all that, and they're probably going to use it. But I'm curious, are there going to be developers that are just kind of lazy and just like, oh, yeah, DLSS 5 is
Well, of
in
course.
there, and
Of course.
because they barely optimize their own games as it
Oh
stands.
man, drink optimization.
Gonna be honest, right? Like games are 100 gigabytes is completely normal now. And I remember the first time I installed TF2 and I was like, wow, this is 20 gigs. That's so much. And now it's like, everything 100, 130, whatever. Call of Duty is like half of your your entire storage. So like, will they even bother to optimize or like use DLSS all the features to like make the game look nice, or they just like throw it in there, turn it on, it, you know, if it looks nice, if it looks like, you know, AI generated or whatever.
Well, and I feel like the other thing, I don't want to speak for Will, but you know, maybe Will's other point too is that, are you not going to hire as many artists and be like, oh, you know what, let's try to do more with the less artists we have, you know, like, hey, you know what, let's make textures that are all 1080p, and that's fine, and then we'll use DLSS 5 to, you know, try to get that fidelity up to 4K.
I think this is the first DLSS thing that might actually require more work from artists. Frame gen and upscaling works with all the temporal data and stuff you already have in your game. You're already putting that kind of stuff in it. This one, if you want to use it to its maximum effect and not just blank canvas it, you're going to have to mask off objects. You're going to have to pick the intensity of the scene, all that kind of different stuff. I'm really curious to see, like, if it winds up being more work.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I'm worried that maybe because of that, they won't use it as much.
I'm going to talk to a friend of mine who is a technical artist to get his take now that there's a little bit more information about it, because obviously he knows way more about how the workflow goes and, you know, where people are spending their time and how much time it takes. And I think it'd be interesting to get his take on
I don't think we'll
all
see
that.
any DLSS 5 only games anytime soon. Like, we only just
hope not.
first started seeing the first ray trace required games, like Indiana Jones. What's it been, 8 years since ray tracing came out? Like, if you are a developer and you make a game that requires DLSS 5, that means anybody on NVIDIA, anybody on a console is never going to be able to touch that. So I don't have any fear of it becoming a requirement for games in the near term future.
Well, has there ever been a game that's required a DLSS feature?
I don't think
There's been
so.
some that put out performance requirements that say with DLSS on, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the marketing team, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or upscaling in general too. Yeah. Anyway, I think any other thoughts of DLSS 5?
It'll be
So-
interesting
More
to
excited now than I was 6 months ago.
a little bit more, and it is right around the corner. They said that it is still going to be releasing in fall, so we may actually have something more tangible to see just in a couple of months.
You just made me realize summer's almost over. That
I
makes
know,
me
I'm
sad.
sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, it is August.
August.
Yeah, it is August.
We got a month and a half left of actual summer.
Yeah. Glenn, any parting wisdom? DLSS 5?
We'll wait and see the performance. I'm curious to see the performance.
Yeah. That is the other big shoe to drop. We will see, but I think we have another shoe to drop, which is buying now or waiting. But we're not going to talk about that until the other end of this ad break. Oh, look at that. We're back to talk about some buying advice. And this kind of got kicked off for a couple of reasons. You had shared some links that I put down in the description. But I have heard a lot of people, even on like Digital Foundry recently, was like, hey, listen, you
So
know,
angry, you're smacking the table.
When is the best time to buy? Like yesterday kind of thing, because
Dude,
all the
seriously.
reports coming out are like, oh, it's only going to get worse. I've talked about it with Russ over on Expedition Handheld, of like some of these handhelds have not caught up with the pricing, and if you can get a deal now, like I don't know, like I feel like I usually fall in the camp of somebody who says kind of sit and wait and not try to tell people like go out and buy right now kind of thing, but yeah, so I'm kind of curious how everyone else is feeling about the current state of things. So Elena,
Yeah.
I'm going to look at you first, because I do look at you for a lot of the buying
So
advice stuff.
this came up because, well, one, we just saw the Xbox Series X and Series S take a big jump. I think on Saturday, it was August 1st that it was supposed to kick in. Earlier in the year is PlayStation 5. The Switch 2 is going to go up in a
coming, yep.
month. Yeah, I think September 1st, was it?
Somewhere in
And
there.
obviously, that's the console side of things, and it seemed like distant and removed, perhaps, from us. And then I saw a piece of news over at Tom's Hardware, where the price of some graphics cards, the 50 series graphics cards in South Korea, are supposed to be jumping, and even though that is for us half a world away. It's all global supply chains now. We're all affected by this. So a lot of people are looking at that thinking, oh, like, is this going to be in the cards for everybody else too? And that got me thinking, which is one of the reasons I proposed this topic to the group, which was, you know what? would I start changing my advice to people for buying? You know, like would I put a little more, what's the word I'm looking for, urgency into, you know, how I recommend and like for timing. And normally, again, like I think Brad is a buy it if you need it kind of guy. You're a kind of hold and wait. I'm a very, what's your situation? And now it's just like, oh, if you're even thinking of buying, what's your timeline? Because if you were thinking of buying and in the next X amount of months, or even like within the next year, maybe you move that time scale, timing up, versus someone who was thinking, oh, I was going to wait a couple years anyway. And it's like, okay, well, in that case, can you hold for a couple more years on top of that? And if not, then again, maybe there's some urgency that you have to consider. And
well, if you're thinking about buying a GPU and you want to get a great price for it, this Saturday, August 8th.
yes.
Yeah, PC World will be clearing out our stores over at the Bay Area Flea Market.
Love it.
Yeah.
Brad, you're the head of PC World. We've got deals going still, articles, roundups.
So they're real deals, no air quotes.
Okay. Yeah.
We don't recommend crap.
No, I'm not saying recommending crap. I just mean like, oh, well, in another time, this isn't much of a deal, but you know.
Like we had a deal last week where we found a laptop at Best Buy, a really nice HP OmniBook that has 16 gigs of RAMs, and it was $550.
Oh, that was the one I found.
Yeah, the one you found.
Hey, look at me.
Post on that right away. Resident Bargain Hunter.
There you go.
I don't know. This year, I think personally, and I think a lot of other enthusiasts as well, are focusing more on my setup and peripherals. Like I'm worrying more about monitors, getting my keyboard game's already tight. I don't need to worry about that. But, you know, adding more monitors, you know, stuff like that kind of way I can do enthusiasm. If my graphics card took a dump right now, I think I would...
I think you should call somebody up and be like, hey, you got to come give photos of this.
Yeah, my PC smells like crap. Why?
This is the first time ever.
I would be tempted to go buy a console, to be honest, or get Xbox Game Pass or something like that. Like, to me, if you had to build a new PC from scratch right now, I would avoid it.
Wait, but even with these console prices?
Yeah, that's what surprised me too.
Yeah, but like, look at the graphics cards you can get for $500 versus.
You can't get consoles for $500, man.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know.
The Switch, but
I would be looking at used prices first. I think prices are a little ridiculous. Like, if PC gaming is your passion and your hobby, like what other people spend time on golf or cars or knitting or whatever they do, like
yachts.
Spend the money, enjoy your hobby. But if I was a normal person and my laptop or my computer, you know, died tomorrow, I would try not to upgrade it until a year or two from now, or go get a mini PC, because you can find a lot of great deals on mini PCs that still have decent amounts of RAM in them for $300 to $500. Just still finding basic mini PCs that have 16 gigabytes of RAM, and that's where I would go if I had to. I'm here for the peripherals this year, man.
Yeah, well, and the monitors specifically, obviously you're a big fan of monitors, but like those prices have only been going down, right?
Monitors are
way down.
So good right now.
Awesome.
I just saw a LG ultra wide, I think maybe even a 49-inch one. Don't quote me on that part. But it's an OLED, open box. But that was $480.
Wow.
I was just like, what?
We're starting to see some Alienware's did the $350 monitor, which I've been promising for a month, but I'm going to have a review up next week. And it's awesome. But because of that, it's putting price pressure on other OLEDs too. So we've seen some go for as cheap as $300 new that were previous models that are now getting discounted. If you're looking for refurb models, I think we saw one for $250 the other day, an OLED monitor.
Jeez.
Like, and it comes with it was on eBay, but it comes with a 2-year Allstate warranty. So this is the year for peripherals. I would wait as much as possible for buying anything aside from possibly a CPU this year.
I mean, yeah, that is the weird thing when I think of the desktop components, right? Like I feel like cases haven't really moved much. Like, you know,
I think cases are having the opposite problem where they're saying like, hey, does anyone remember we're still here, we're still making them.
Same thing for actually, I think it's kind of we're in a good spot for CPUs as well, where it's like, hey, the 270K plus Intel's top of the line CPU right now came out at what, $300, you know, and it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
you know, and so like CPUs, you now more than ever, you're still able to get some really good stuff out of that. Like motherboards, like I feel haven't changed it, like because of this situation, they haven't changed too much. Like, yes, motherboard prices in general, there's a lot more models, a lot more higher end stuff. But like, and then, then you look at the storage, the DRAM, GPU, like those are all things that are, so like half the components are doing good. The other half are not.
And surprisingly, power supplies have become more, I would say normal, not dirt cheap, but they've become a little normal again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it depends on what you're going to do with it, right? We're talking about the context of PC gaming. Like the thing that I always try to think of too is like, man, if you need something for work, that's a whole nother equation.
You don't really have
that's hard.
as much of a choice. You can't necessarily delay because in that case, as Gordon used to love to say, time is money, right? If you can do something 30 minutes faster, that's that much more work you can get done in a day.
Right.
Or squeeze into that time.
So that's why I feel like that juggling act is kind of a different thing. But for gaming itself, you know, that's one thing. Like how far back do you think, if you're just a pure gamer, how far back of a GPU do you think you'd be like, you know what, I can't hold on to this for a couple more years and try to wait it out? Like, what series? What do you think?
Well, definitely my buddy with the 970.
I mean,
because he's not even playing like just only like little indie games. I mean, he was playing Final Fantasy 14. He's been playing Expedition 33. So it was so cute. He was like, "Whoa, I'm getting like 30 more frames a second and it looks so good." I was like, "Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. I think your CPU and GPU bound, buddy. We fixed half of the equation for you." But the other thing too is that before we get too deep into like, how old does it have to be? I also think we know for sure that 2027, there's another report I think I just saw this morning where they're saying that 2027 is all like, they're all booked up. Like production for 2027, it's all
for RAM.
Yeah, for RAM, right? So it does affect this. And we've also heard from analysts that this is probably going to last into 2028 minimum. So I don't see prices even holding steady. I think they're just going to keep going up. So my thinking is that if you go back, like to me, if you're going back further than a 30 series card on the NVIDIA side, and I guess maybe even this 7000 series for AMD, maybe you do want to think about upgrading if you happen to have some extra cash and you're anticipating you would hang on to that card for at least 5 to 7 years. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, you get to a point in a couple of years where that card dies or it just can't play the games you want, and then bam, you're like super hit hard by these prices. And one of the reasons I'm saying that too is another piece of news that came up was, I think you brought this one up, which is the rumor. We normally don't talk about rumors, but it seems more likely maybe that there's not going to be, or it's a delayed Super Series for the 50 series cards.
Yep.
So that means that you're looking at a potential price increase, and to give more numbers around it, the Tom's Hardware article said that,
which I linked down in the description.
It is the South Korea price increases were up to 30%. So the 5090 is now like $5,100 US dollars equivalent.
It was never a gamer card. Now it's
I know.
not a gamer card.
For sure. But if people were kind of holding out for a super card, that is maybe no longer a thing to have in play when you're making your calculations for buy now versus hold.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do come out with super cards intentionally so they can raise the price levels.
It can. Oof. Wow.
Dang. All right, Brad. Thanks for that one.
Rose-colored glasses there.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I mean, the reports, we're not going to get too much into the rumors, but the reports are that NVIDIA was like, yeah, they're on. And then now the new report is like, oh, no, now they're off. They're telling the AIBs to hold off. Because I think the other thing, too, is like, even if they wanted to come out with a Super Series, then they have to allocate towards that. And maybe they're like, you know what? We don't need to allocate over there. Let's just keep raking in the dough. On the data center side.
To the data centers.
Yeah.
The tricky part is the RAM and the storage isn't, which RAM also affects VRAM and graphics cards. So this is all part of the equation. It isn't going to get better anytime soon. So if you need a part, go buy a part. And what's worse is like the more these data centers scale up and the more of these cards get bought, it just makes memory more and more expensive. Like they're obviously going, like if data centers want to buy 1 billion GPUs and pay for RAM inside of them, they're going to heavily focus on that. It's just going to get worse and worse. So buy a mini PC or look on Facebook Marketplace.
Actually, I have been looking on Facebook Marketplace a lot, mostly for handhelds, because I'm just curious, like what people are offloading. In our area, a lot of AYN Thors. But I think a lot of those got bought because it's very popular.
We actually, Mike Kreider, who's on here pretty often when I'm not, he's in charge of our performance desk. A few weeks ago, he did a piece. He got a Steam machine because he really wanted one. He bought one. I wouldn't have bought one for $1,100. That was just him and his own purchase even. He loved it. But he did a really interesting piece saying, here's how you can get similar-ish performance out of a $350 AMD-based mini PC that's got 16 gigs of RAM. It's about the same level of performance in the graphics. You put Bazite on there, like that kind of a deal. So there are ways to wiggle around things, but yeah, it's a hard time.
Yeah. Glenn, what's your feeling on all this stuff? You know, you're about to go off down to LA for more college, computer science stuff, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of debating and a lot of talking down there. Like, how are you feeling on the situation?
Man, I mean, if you want to try DLSS 5, you should have bought your second 5090 today.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you like? I think it depends on the context. Once again, like I feel like we're in one camp over here. Like either gaming or workload, things like that. You're over there. Young, going to college. You need it for college stuff, but also you want to do a little gaming on the side, kind of thing. But also when you're younger, you usually don't have as much disposable income. So
usually.
yeah, are you somebody who would look used?
I mean, honestly, I probably would.
Yeah.
Like,
take a risk.
Yeah, I know it is risky. It's always risky to buy used, but if you look for the right things, I think it's not too hard to buy used GPUs. I mean, you gotta be careful for like mining rigs and stuff, but I don't like. I'm kind of curious to see like if the AI stuff, if all the prices are gonna be crazy for the next 2 or 3 years, right? Which is crazy. Are video games gonna get more intensive? Like our game developers gonna be like, hey, like it's not even worth it to make an even crazier video game because no one's even gonna play it because their hardware can't even keep up with it. Like, the bottom line is consoles, right? And so if your game can't run on a console, then it's not good. So I think if your game is better, if your PC is better than a console, then I think you're fine.
Well, you recently helped your friend put together a PC. What were the recommendations that you were giving him? I mean, you don't have to out anything specifically, but were they? Is this their first PC build?
No. So my friend had a 3070 in a H1, and it was like he turned it on and you could hear the fans just like start spinning, and he was like idling, and I was like, man, it's time to get a new machine. So he balled out. He got a pretty good PC. He got a 5070 Ti, I think, and the
nice
7800 X3D. So I mean,
yeah, that's good.
Me and my friend helped him build it, and we were like, look, man, if you got to buy DDR5, you're like super cooked. And we looked at his PC and was like, oh, there's DDR5 in there. So he was like, man, me and my little like high schooler, he built something in high school and was like, oh man, me and my little high schooler brain, like really, really thinking about the future here buying DDR5. So
Nice.
he didn't want to go super expensive. For the CPU, we were like, yeah, just get the Micro Center bundle, man. Like it's
right?
good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to a friend of the show, Steve Lynn, about this too, because he was putting together a new rig, and he's like, man, at Micro Center, like you can still get pretty good deals down there, and like we're lucky to be close enough to one, and the people who are, like, that's a whole different equation, right? And it like in some ways negates all of this talk.
Not all.
But not all of it. But a lot of people aren't close to a micro center. So, like,
I've never seen one.
yeah.
They don't ship, right? You can't.
They do have an online store, but they don't do their best deals on it.
Yeah.
So a lot of them
yeah.
are basically loss leaders to get you in store, right?
Man.
Yeah. I mean,
They figure if you go get that bundle combo, you'll buy the rest of the PC around it while you're in there.
Ah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And if you go to their website and look like what's willing to ship, yeah, it's a subset of
Yeah, it's
what
much
they
smaller.
offer. Yeah.
Okay.
Which makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, sorry to keep harping on the school stuff, but what do you think people are going to be saying in school, computer science, all this kind of stuff?
Oh man. I mean, I don't know. I think you'd be really surprised. I don't think a lot of computer science people are really like hardware gamer people.
Mm-hmm.
They're more like
Yeah.
software
Yeah.
startup tech bros. I
Yeah.
think is honestly
of
more
them
the thing. They're
snacks.
like, yeah, man, 5090, whatever.
Oh, it's 5,000?
NVIDIA all the
Okay.
way,
Yeah.
man. They're like, so.
So they're the ones that are driving up the prices.
Yeah, I mean, probably it's kind of interesting actually to see the software engineers dig their own grave. With all the AI stuff, and they're like, they built this super cool thing. Yeah, AI is going to revolutionize everything, and then they get laid off tomorrow, which is really interesting. I'm wondering, a lot of people they love AI and whatever, and I know everybody hates to talk about it, and I'm kind of curious to see if people will actually have home AI stuff, because I've heard a lot about it online, but I personally don't know a lot of people that do it, and I'm kind of assuming can college kids really afford two RTX 6000s for their mini AI data center? I kind of doubt it. So yeah,
I think it depends on what you're doing with it. I mean, it's like something I've actually brought up here. I have a video coming up soon. I've actually have been setting up my local AI agent. It's part of an MSI sponsored video, but the whole ideation around it was something that I wanted to do. And then so I actually want to talk about it in a future episode, so I'm not going to spoil too much. But yeah, I was sitting down being like, okay, well, what can I do with the hardware that I have, and what would I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
But then Will, a couple months ago, he took home a Strix Halo laptop that we had, and he set up a local agent that would go through all of his various email accounts, because he gets a lot of spam and has a lot of email accounts and stuff like that, and gave it read-only access to that. And then the agent was essentially telling him hey, you know what? Here's the high priority stuff that you should be going through. So there are people who are setting that kind of stuff up. Wendell obviously is a big proponent of it, and I do think you'd be surprised on what you can do on local hardware, and you don't need to get data center GPUs. I'm using a mini PC as an agent, for my setup kind of thing, and then a Strix Halo running the model, which it's not cheap, but AMD's thing too. Is always hey, if you're a gamer, you probably already have hardware that can do a certain amount of stuff. I think it really comes down to, okay, well, what would you want to do, and why would you want to do it? So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks. I think it's only going to get worse. So buy it if you need it.
Yeah. Do you think people should run out and maybe hoard some DDR5, and try to flip it later?
I ain't got money for that. I'm trying to fill my gas tank at the same time.
Seriously.
man, this reminds me. There's an episode of Futurama.
What?
It was this. I haven't watched a lot of Futurama, but I remember there was this. It was a 1-2 episode series where these aliens came to wherever. I think they're on Earth, right? They go to Earth, and they their whole thing is they eat the data. Do you know about that episode?
No.
Oh, but it was
they're
their whole thing is they love information, and they they're really weird about it, and they sniff phones and all this weird tech. It's it's a weird Futurama
sniffing
episode.
tech. Who does that?
I don't know, but I was
Yeah, who, Adam?
Nobody.
yeah, who?
I'll have to check that
I don't know the name of the episode, but I was I remember when I heard about all the AI and the RAM stuff, I was like, wow, this is the Futurama episode where it's they're coming to take your data and your information and just eat it up, basically. And,
Very topical. All right.
yeah, the aliens from outer space are here to eat your RAM for breakfast.
There you go. Nice. I like it. Yeah. Any other advice, or anything we can look down? Maybe at the distance.
Personally, I think Brad is right that if you are feeling itchy about your system and wanting to, upgrade it, tweak it, make it feel better to you, peripherals, monitors, they're the way to go right now. Also, just your physical setup in general, maybe make it more ergonomic, more comfortable, look into stuff like that. But I do think on the topic itself, I think the biggest thing that either if you're thinking about it for yourself or you're advising other people, really taking into account how stretchable you think your existing hardware would be, and then using that as your calculus, whether to move up your timeline to replace or hunkering down, basically.
Brad?
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
If you're a gamer, I would definitely buy an OLED monitor this year if you're having that itch. Like, they are looking good. Even the big expensive ones are regularly on sale for 50% off. So you can get huge baller OLEDs that used to cost $1,500 for like $600-700 now, which is still a lot of money, but a relative deal in the PC economy. And those cheaper OLEDs, like this $350 Alienware OLED, like the screen is just as good as you're going to see on other ones. It's worth spending that money. I had another point, but I totally spaced it now.
You can check PCWorld.com for
You
latest
could check
deals.
PC World.
Yeah.
Recommendations, yeah.
Last question I have, Elena.
Yeah.
Is that if prices continue to rise towards the end
I
of the year?
remembered my point. I remembered
Go
my
for it.
point.
Please.
Sorry. Stage that question. This is an example of why I don't like to overclock systems out the bat. Like back in the days when some of us were getting, rolling up our sleeves, getting used to this stuff, overclocking was typical. It was standard.
Yeah.
These days, the way chip intelligence works, you really don't need it too much. But I never overclock now. And what I do is when my hardware starts to feel a little bit long in the tooth, like click an application, it's just a little half second too long, taking too long to open. That's when I'll overclock. And it gives you that little bit of extra burst back. So I think if your PC is starting to feel a little bit pokey and you want to try to stretch it out a little bit more, now would be a time to maybe get into overclocking and stuff like that.
Or undervolting. Yes.
Undervolting also works,
Yeah.
but it's not quite the same thing. You wouldn't get more performance.
Well, it'll give you the same performance for less
a lot
power
less.
and heat.
Oh, I prefer undervolting to overclocking GPUs, but if you're looking to stretch your GPU out more, you could overclock it.
Sure.
So,
Okay,
so
but
what
would
we're
you-
talking here is one person is talking about getting more performance, other person is getting more longevity. out of the chip.
I mean, like, would you rather have like a Prius or would you rather have like a cool, like a nice, I don't know, what's a cool car, like a Corvette or something, like gas guzzler, whatever, but it goes fast, right?
Oh,
Depends
wow.
where you live for electricity costs, I guess.
That's true.
Glenn, that just sounded like something your dad would say.
Yep.
Call it car
Love it.
analogy and everything. So, yeah, my question is then to finish off this section is that if prices keep going up towards the end of the year
Yes.
compared to now, do you think the Black Friday deals will only come back down to what we're seeing now? Or do you think we'll actually see anything that is cheaper than now?
Who knows? I actually don't like to make Black Friday predictions because it is so dependent on general state of the economy, where retailers are at, what inventory they're holding, and when they bought that inventory. There's just so many factors that go into it that I really hate to predict this far out. If you ask me like a month or even especially a couple weeks before, then it's a lot easier to give a more definitive answer, or at least a little bit more concrete, let's put it that way. But for now, no clue. Let's put it this way, I wouldn't be surprised if the best Black Friday deals only bring it back down to what was more normal at the beginning of the year.
Jeez.
Yeah, it'll be like the crypto days. Like, hey, there's a GPU for MSRP. That's a
go
Black
get it.
Friday deal.
Yeah, go get it.
Get it. It's hot. Cool. Well, what we can predict is that there's going to be another ad break right now. If I hit the right button. And we are back with questions. If you have a question right now for this show and you're watching live at the Full Nerd Network in the chat, that's the easiest way for me to look down and see that it came in. But if you're watching or listening to this later, that's okay too. We have a link in the description for going over to the Full Nerd Network Discord. We have a fine number of folks over there, cool channels, good hanging out, good chats. And we have a channel in there called TFN _questions. that you can put in a question at any time of the day, any day of the week. And hopefully we'll get read on the next episode. And let me bring up some from, I didn't launch Discord. It's going to take me a minute on this one. So, yeah, I forgot to launch it on that. So I'm going to stall for a minute.
Are you guys planning on upgrading anything yourselves this year?
Uh,
Oh, my keyboard.
Oh.
Actually, I have.
Oh, why is it grody? Is it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a little. Let's
Needs
not
some
talk
cleaning.
about that. But I have never built a custom keyboard, and the friend who I helped upgrade the PC, he is like a big keyboard guy. And so I was like, hey man, can you help me build a keyboard? And so I started asking him a bunch of questions. He's like, okay, you need like this and this and this, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so much that goes into it. So I think it'd be really fun. I've always wanted like a nice keyboard. I kind of always use like the, big name brand ones. I never actually built one myself.
yeah, it's a rabbit hole, dude.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at it, I was like, I have to choose the case and I have to choose like the PCB and like all that stuff. It's crazy.
Maybe even lube it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a whole other
That's
thing.
what people got into during the pandemic when there were all the, it was hard to get a graphics card, that kind of stuff. So people actually just turned to like stuff like this because
Yeah.
it's like its own little rabbit hole of, I can optimize this way, or I can get it this way, or I can customize it to sound like this.
What's also fun adjacently is ThinkPads. I think ThinkPads are pretty cool. I was going through a bunch of my dad's old laptops and he had one. So I've been throwing some old parts in there. It's like, DDR3. Like, okay, sure. Yeah, DDR3 is like not super crazy. And it's, not super crazy right now.
Well, I mean, but yeah, I think that one's a little harder because now they just don't produce it ananymore. So
Yeah.
you got to find
But
old stock somewhere.
Yeah.
I think.
it's a lot of fun though. I mean, I got, I don't know if there's a question. If I have to stop. But there's a USB-C charging adapter. And it's sold by like this random dude in the UK, and he has like 200 subscribers on YouTube. And he's like, "Hey, you want like a USB-C charger adapter for this specific model of ThinkPad?"
I got
He's
you.
like, "I got you, $40, but I only ship like." He's like, I only produce a certain amount, and it takes like 2 weeks to ship.
Wow.
And like, there's like all this stuff. So it finally came in the mail, and I have to put that on my laptop.
Oh, you like a physical mod.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about because I looked it up for this one too. Yeah, essentially you swap out the proprietary charger for USB-C. Yeah, that mod the soldering doesn't actually look too bad.
No, so this
yeah.
one actually is unsoldered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just I think it's like a clip or something. It's super
Okay,
simple.
well then you got lucky because this model I would have to like there are mods for it, but yeah, you have to do a little soldering, and that's one of the things I need to beef up on is my soldering skills. Yeah. So maybe that's what I'll buy. But you're right. Good point about getting more out of your tech. For sure is super fun. The first question comes in from a super chat from one Lindsay Murray. Wow, $5. Thank you so much. I just gave money to the show, my own show. I have a very important question. This. Yeah, it's a snake eating its own tail. I like it. You didn't share a pic of Zip with everyone.
Oh, you didn't?
I guess I didn't. Or,
The new kitty?
Yeah, maybe I guess I didn't put it over in Discord. But yeah, no, Lindsay and I have another foster. He had another foster with the orange cat, which is named Iggy, and I think I definitely shared a photo of that. But yeah, I'll get in the channel on Discord and share a picture of him. So yeah, he's a tuxedo cat, very tiny, has a broken tail. So it's it's like that
Do they ever
kind
heal?
of thing. No, not this one.
Aw.
So well, I mean it's healed, but I believe it's just going to stay that way. I could be wrong. But yeah, he's super cute. I don't have any pictures that I can throw on screen right now, so you're gonna have to go over to Discord to see it. But
This is all ploy to get you all to join the Discord server, apparently.
But yeah, Zip is cute. He's grown up. Man, when he came in, he was like the dirtiest kitten that we've gotten so far. So Lindsay had to give him 2 baths actually that first day.
Because a lot
so
of
many
fleas.
fleas.
Yeah, she said to me.
Oh, so dirty. Yeah, but I mean, he's grown up quick, and him and Iggy are a pretty good pair now, and they like to
Took to each
rumble
other?
and yeah,
Oh, that's great.
they snuggle each other, and I got some really cute photos of that. So, yeah. Kitty pics over on Discord. I will do that. Question for Elena from one friend of the show, Deus, who's the CEO of Deezer. Have you been tracking the progress of the Chrome OS / Android merger Do you have any concerns that it'll impact your go-to OS for old hardware? I guess we always have lightweight Linux options, but they're not as seamless/polished for the normal users.
The answer is yes and yes.
Okay,
Very
easy.
succinct.
And they're calling it, what is the name of that new OS?
Aluminum
Aluminum.
OS.
Aluminium. Yeah.
No.
What, they don't call it aluminium?
It's made in the U.S. It's going to be aluminum.
Okay. But yeah, they haven't, it's not out yet, right?
No.
No. Okay. Well, what do you think of it?
I am watching it with some trepidation because I am concerned that this, sometimes when you merge things into a combined sort of purpose, like a combined washer dryer single unit, it just doesn't do the job as well.
It's
That
good for apartments.
Right. That's what I mean. I just worry, though, that even though they say that it's supposed to help with, integrating the two stacks of technology together, that it's not necessarily going to be a good solution because it's now one size fits all as opposed to it having been a little more customized. I don't know anything about the developer side, obviously, so maybe it is a thing that it just makes sense for them and that they see doing things with it that they couldn't do before. But I really like Chrome OS kind of being what it is right now. I'm less worried about the Android side of things. I mean, that's what I'm really feeling inside, is that I'm worried that Chrome OS is going to get Androidified to the point where it's not really that really lightweight, clean desktop experience that I want and expect from Chrome OS.
I agree. Chromebooks rock. As I've said before, I've gotten, grandma's community is all on Chromebooks, and I don't have to deal with personal IT calls anymore. Has anybody ever used Android on a laptop, either a Chromebook or something else?
I have, yeah.
You have, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And if you don't like AI being shoved down every bit of your throat, that also sucks. So I'm going to keep an open mind, but I love Chrome OS, and Google's going to have to win my heart here because it seems like the worst of two bad worlds.
Yeah.
Have they indicated any support for older hardware? Like, oh, hey, this will get installed on older Chromebooks, or...
There's very little they've released about it, honestly. I think
okay.
it's still very early. They've talked about it, I think, because they want to get it, embedded in people's minds that it's a thing, but there's not a lot of detail about it yet.
Yeah, because
I think they want to get in investors' minds that we're making a new OS with AI, so drive up those dollars. I think it's more for investors than it is for actual people.
yeah.
Is this completely overriding Chrome OS as like a thing, or is this just like a new thing that they are creating? Like, will now all Android phones have this OS and all Chromebooks will have this OS, or is it like they're just making a new one?
Yeah, I think I think the idea behind it is that they're going to just basically merge these two and then just leave everything else in the past. So they'll move to this. But as Brad was pointing out, I think the last major piece of information we got about it is that it's going to have a ton of AI features in it, and it's really turned me off on wanting to move to it.
They have something called the Magic Cursor that's supposed to be responsive, and you can try it out. Ben, our AI guy, did check it out, and he says it's not so magical. So first impressions wasn't a strong one.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Side note, I did put a picture of Zip and Iggy in the Aw channel. Daedus has another question. It's not a follow-up, but how do you hold your controller? Is your trigger finger on the bumpers and you switch, or are you actually using your middle finger for the triggers? Props might be required. So, yeah,
Well, it
essentially.
depends on the controller, right?
Do we have a control? Oh, I do have a controller. Let me grab one.
Because I think kind of depends on the controller size and layout.
I hold the triggers, not the bumpers, the triggers is the way that I hold it.
Well, I think the real question is, so do you use your index finger to switch between the bumpers and triggers like this? Or are you somebody who uses your middle finger on the triggers and your index fingers on the bumpers like this?
I switch.
Yeah, because I know people like even Luis here in the office, he transitioned to this, and there's a name for that. Yeah.
It's one of those things I can't think. I have to have it in my hand and just not really think about what I'm doing.
Yeah. And this isn't a great controller, unfortunately, but Yeah, I am not someone. I've tried to use the whatever that grip is called. There's a very specific grip for it.
Claw or something.
Yeah, it's like
Claw grip,
claw or something like that.
weird.
But yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of it. Also because I love back paddles, and I use my middle two fingers as the back paddle fingers. So like, yeah, I don't think I could get used to that. So
Yeah, I think for me, I generally switch, or I just use I use the index finger for both, unless there's some kind of combo that it makes more sense for me to bring in the middle fingers. Because otherwise, because the thing is that for me, when I take the middle fingers off the controller, I have less stability holding it, right? Because they serve as kind of a brace against which you're pushing with the front part of your hand.
Yeah, that seems wild to me. I was just sitting here trying to picture it. My brain can't do that.
It makes sense to me though, depending on also the angle of your wrist, right? So I think for us at the table, what we're saying is that we probably hold it with the controller a little more even angled forward, in the sense of like if you were to lay it flat on a table, pick it up in your hands, you would be almost like pointing the top edge of it a little bit down and like towards the floor. And in that scenario, it doesn't feel as comfortable to have both your middle and index fingers on the top buttons. But if you were to tilt that top edge towards you, I think that would make sense, right? And even when you were demonstrating it, Adam, how Luis might be holding it, you naturally tipped it towards you. And so if he's holding it that way, then I think it could work, or would work rather.
it depends the controller too, because like the tournament controller that Razer has, what is it, the Wolverine V3 Pro or whatever, does actually have more of a, like the actual grips here are more in line with the face. Like this is a more of a traditional PlayStation where like the face is kind of like sloped down on here, where yeah, it's I don't know, it's definitely different. I mean, it's a whole thing kind of thing, but yeah, it depends on the controller, depends on the games, all that kind of stuff. But no, I can't get behind it.
I'd like to say though, in defense of having your middle finger and your ring finger, or no, your pointer finger and your middle finger on the triggers. I do that because when I play like racing games and stuff, the clutch is the left bumper and the brake is the right trigger. So, or the left trigger. So if you want to like downshift and brake at the same time, you have to use two fingers, for one for the clutch and one for the brake. So I do play like this sometimes when I'm playing racing games, but like other
it makes
than that,
sense. Again,
it's just like
yeah.
this,
So it's all about the game, right?
Yeah.
That's why I've been playing Forza Horizon 6, and I only use automatic. I don't want to deal with all that.
Auto.
I love how
Especially Horizon.
Glenn just casually just drops how, like, you know,
it's more fun that
skilled
way.
and intense he plays games.
It's
I
like
know, that sounds like a
completely
blast,
unnecessary.
drifting.
Yeah, it's like Forza, man, whatever. But it's more fun that way, guys.
I like it. I do have a follow-up thing. Friend of the show, DLSS, had challenged me, I think it was maybe last week's episode, to figure out a controller that had both trigger stops
Yes.
and the tension rings on the thumbsticks. And then he mentioned over on Discord that it was on sale. So I did end up picking it up. I didn't bring it in. I'm actually going to talk about it on this week's Expedition Handheld. So Datus, let me know if you don't watch Expedition Handheld. Maybe I'll bring it up here on Full Nerd again. But I did get it in, and I have been using it over the weekend, and I have some thoughts for sure. But we can chat about it. Follow-up question on this from Dirk150 asks, to stack on the controller question, what's your mouse grip? Claw, palm, or fingertip? And they actually put a photo in Discord to kind of show both or all three, but I think we can kind of understand. Like palm is taking the whole grip of the mouse like this. Claw is to kind of like move your fingers like so that it has a little bit more of a claw thing. And then fingertip, I've never seen fingertip, but essentially it's like,
it's wild.
Really? Yeah, it's like somebody's like almost just hovering their
It's
hand
like the
over
most
it and
delicate,
pushing it.
like they're just swirling it around with their fingertips.
Yeah, I'm definitely a palm
Artisanal.
person, but I also like I don't game with a mouse and keyboard, so like just for general use. Actually, for general use, I'm a trackball
Wait,
person.
even when you're
so.
playing like first-person shooters, you're not
You
you're
play
using your
first-person
controller.
shooters on a trackball.
Yeah, no, I don't play. I don't play games with the trackball. I play games.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Oh.
with first-person
I
shooters.
thought you switched back and forth.
No, why would I do that?
I mean, you are gaming on PC now.
Yeah, in the living room.
Oh,
So
I thought you-
I never game at my desk.
I thought you did. That's why.
No.
I think there's a console person.
But
in this room.
even if I did game at my desk, it would still be controller.
Interesting. I learned something about
100% a controller person. Yeah.
Do you use the sticks or do you use gyro aim though?
Oh no, I can't. Man, I've tried gyro aim. That's I'm too old for that. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm a stick person. So, but I will say that's why I like the back paddles is because I bind the back paddles to ABXY, so I don't have to move my right thumb off the stick.
That's smart.
Yeah, so I just do ABXY back here, and so I never. Yeah, like I mean, but also I'm not a competitive gamer. Like I play first person shooters just for story. So anyway, Brad, are you a palm, claw, or fingertip or something
Palm
else?
for life. I think mostly because I'm not that old, but old enough. Computers were relatively new when I was coming out. Claw, stuff like that didn't exist back then. I grew up just straight palming it.
You say that, but I had friends who would do the like weird handholds on their mice like that. So I actually have seen someone do like not for gaming, but for regular mouse work, doing like more of a claw or a fingertip, which to me is just wild.
A lot of people use claw for gaming. It's not for me.
So which grip do you have for your mouse?
Also palm. I just can't. This to me just feels too much sorry for audio listeners, I'm imitating the claw grip. It's so much engagement of my wrist at all times that to me it's not very restful.
But you don't really use a normal controller anywhere, or do you switch to that for gaming?
There's the reason why I have that crazy Azeron.
The roller mouse.
No. So the roller mouse is for the split keyboard, and the roller mouse is for my work. So that's ergonomic equipment. If I'm gaming on PC, specifically all the time I spend in Overwatch, I have this crazy looking Azeron controller for my left side, and I use a mouse for pointing and aiming on my right side because I figured out pretty quickly, because I was put in all these PC lobbies, that I was at a pretty major disadvantage on controller in a way that I wasn't in games like Halo when you're playing multiplayer, right? And so I thought, okay, well, my biggest problem is not my right side. Using a mouse is fine. My brain doesn't really love the whole WASD navigation, and then having to move the fingers to hit the E button and all that to, activate my, ultimates, whatever. And I thought, okay, is there something that would kind of give me a thumbstick for my left hand? So I did a bunch of research, and I ended up stumbling upon the Azeron controller.
How do you spell that?
Azeron. I wrote about it for PCWorld.com. I actually have an updated. So I did
this thing.
Yeah. So I did kind of not really a review, but more of just an account of what it's like to use it for the site a couple years ago when I first got it. And then I did an updated version of it, I think last year, because I'd been using it for a year or two at that point. And so if you want to see what it's like and, my account of it, it's on there. I have version 1. I actually wish I had version 2, because the version 1, the analog thumbstick is in a fixed position. And so for my hand, it's just a little bit out of the range that's comfortable. I got used to it, but I think for version 2, they allow you to adjust that position. I would much prefer to have that for even better ergonomics. I also bought the tenting kit for it, so it also is way more comfortable, because now instead of just having my wrist on the left side and palm down, it is at an angle when I'm using that controller, and it feels a little bit more like using an actual controller where my wrist is slightly more in a neutral position, so I can game pretty long on that thing. It's actually my right side that goes out quicker because I'm using a standard mouse.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. It always reminds me that there's something I backed on Indiegogo years ago called the Hex Evo, which was essentially half of a controller just for your left hand for the WSD stuff. And it's never been released. Yeah,
Hori actually has something like this for PlayStation. They have some thing where it's it's funny because it's literally kind of like half a controller for your left side, and it straps to your hand, so so you don't have to worry about the grip part, and you can use that. And then it comes with the mouse. And for a while I was thinking of buying one off of eBay just to see what it was like, but ultimately I decided that my Azeron is fine. More exciting, I found somebody who had done a DIY version of the Azeron controller, 3D printing and all that. And so there's an Instructables, I think, page for it, and I put that in my bookmarks of things I'd like to try someday. We'll see how soon, if ever, if I get to making my own, because sometimes I do travel and my friends still want to play games, and I don't want to carry around my very expensive and now kind of hard to replace Azeron controller with me. So if I could do my own like cheaper DIY, and if that got banged up a bit, I think I wouldn't feel as bad about it, because I would also know in theory how to repair it.
Well, you're not buying any GPUs this year.
Yeah, there you go.
Project.
All right, Glenn, claw, palm, fingertip.
Yeah, I'm more of a palm person. I feel like this feels the most natural.
What is your mouse of choice at home?
I have a Corsair Harpoon, I think, the wired version.
Huh.
Yeah, it's fine. I used to have this Rocat mouse that I love that mouse, man.
Oh,
It
really?
had a side paddle as like a scroll wheel. So when you're scrolling things, you just like hold it down or hold it up, and it would just like auto scroll up or down.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty
and
cool.
it was like super old and like unsupported, and you had to go to like a Google Drive link to like download the drivers, and I was like, but you know, I did it in whatever 2019 or something. So
Yeah.
I love that mouse.
What happened to it?
I still have it. It's just really nasty. And it's like, one is super nasty, and two is the cable. It's like a braided cable, but it was like bended for so long that the braid broke and the plastic is like exposed.
Oh.
So I'm like, I don't know if I really want to use it for much longer. But
That makes sense.
it's nice. It's like, it's not super heavy. You can still play games on it. I was never kind of the person to use like the very competitive or like the most advantageous position of like, you know, use the claw and then hold it like this way and have like a super light mouse and have it like all the way out here, and you have to aim with your forearm and make the little adjustments with your wrist. And I was like,
Right.
whatever, man.
Well, what about gyro? You mentioned gyro. Yeah.
No, but
I mean, I
So-
know a lot of people. It's hot with the younger kids. Yeah.
I have personally not tried gyro. The controller I use is a plug-in Xbox 360 controller, probably
Okay.
from
Classic.
yeah,
Me.
super old, probably
Yeah.
from
Your
Elena.
dad specifically
Yeah.
asked me for one for you.
Yeah, probably that one. I love that thing. But the reason I bring it up is because I was watching this YouTube video about, like, I don't know, maybe it came out like 2 years ago. This guy who plays TF2, and he plays Demo Knight. I don't know if you guys know what that is. But it's like, it's basically, you know, in a shooter game, it's like a melee class. And it's like notorious like a meme class, but he's like really good with it. And then he played it on controller, which is like even more insane. He's playing a first-person shooter. He's playing a melee class on controller. And I was like, how do you do that? And his whole thing was like gyro aim. And he did really well with gyro aim. So I was like, oh, like maybe it's
I'm
actually
going to
not
look that
bad.
video up. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. Shout out Solar Light on YouTube. Look it up.
Nice. Okay. Sweet. Let's take a couple more questions and get out of here. Friend of the show, Voice Colo asks, I bought what I believe is the first 1080p mini LED monitor. It's a TCL 256G or G6. I don't know what this is. On the market at a trade show sale for 130 euros. Wow. Okay. It supports 300 hertz 8-bit HDR or 240 hertz 10-bit HDR. I play at 720p/1080p anyway with upscaling. I don't see enough of a difference compared to playing at 1440p on a 27-inch monitor. Am I crazy?
I personally can see a big difference between 1080p and 1440p. Like, to me, the jump from 1440p to 4K isn't so big. The jump from 1080p to 1440p is. But if it doesn't bother you, man, run the lower resolution, get more performance, have a great
Right.
life. That sounds like an awesome monitor. I wish I had a mini LED monitor. So just roll with it.
Yeah, have you heard of this specific one, the TCL 25G64?
I don't know it off the top of my head,
Okay,
no,
the-
but I'm hoping
I
to
don't
get
feel
some
like
mini
we
LEDs in soon.
I don't feel like we see TLC monitors in the US as much. I think Europe tends to get more of the Chinese made products than we do.
Yes.
Yeah, they have a couple links. If people are interested, they drop a couple links in their question in Discord. But you know,
They don't sound crazy, but that sounds like a cool monitor to get that cheap at a trade show. That's a heck of a find.
yeah.
I don't think it's crazy either. I think for me,
Not at
it's
all.
one of those things where, you know what? Kind of like our talk earlier about DLSS 5, your reality is your reality, right? So if you don't really, and it may not be that you don't see a difference, you may actually be perceiving it, you just don't care, and that's fine.
I mean, that's me. Yeah, I feel like I'm unfortunately in the other boat where I'm okay with 60 if I can get 4K. Kind of thing. Like, I mean, I think for the general person, 1440p is the sweet spot, and I think 1440p is probably going to be the sweet spot for a long time to come.
Well, especially with how
Yeah.
tech is progressing in terms of how quickly our existing products are being replaced with newer ones.
Yeah, and even though I love 4K, I also don't think that we should be pushing towards like 8K or anything like that. I think at that point,
I'm actually, a side tangent, I am so glad that technology progressed in a way where the resolution war or the march towards, higher and higher resolutions quieted down, because about 10 years ago we were seeing this, we're all pushing to it. We actually even skipped over 1440. Everyone was talking about 4K immediately, and then they were talking about 8K, and it was huge and it was big, and I was definitely not in that camp of thinking that was going to improve things. So I'm really glad that instead the industry did more of, I wouldn't say side grades, but they focused on other things like making OLED a thing, finally looking into or like developing things like mini LED, improving black levels in general for monitors, higher resolution, higher refresh rates, different monitor sizes, different monitor ultra wide versus traditional resolutions. And I think that has given people much more choice and options for how they like to play and how they like how do I want to put this, what looks best for their eyes, right? So Brad is someone who can really take advantage of high refresh rate monitors because he can perceive a difference. For me, 120 is more than adequate, and now it's so cheap. It's crazy cheap now, right? So I'm happy, right? But that means I can spend less, and I can put it towards things that I do value, which is like I like better black levels. I like a certain kind of like color reproduction, and that's an option too. And I love that, as opposed to if we had been on this, honestly, in my opinion, like this stupid single march towards just 8K, like it would have been so miserable.
yeah. Well, what was it? The 4090 that tried to say it was ready for 8K gaming? Was that what that was?
Whatever.
and then they walked that back.
I gotta try that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, in my last house, before it all burned down, I used to have like 7 different monitors, depending on what game I was playing. I had them set up as a multi-monitor at some point, but I had like a 360 hertz 1080p when I was playing, Counter-Strike. I had an ultra-wide when I was playing racing games or space game, an Elite. Different ones for single-player 4K. I'm glad to have all these different options now. Each one can be awesome in their own right.
Yeah. Glenn, what is your preferred resolution / frame rate / monitor technology?
Well, so before the most recent PC, I was on like this ultra wide LG monitor or something, and it was like maxed out at 60, but I wasn't playing super crazy stuff. And then one time I went to a friend's house and we played like, we must have played like Overwatch or something, and I had a gaming laptop and it was running at like 120. I was like, wow, this is insane. And so ever since then I've always wanted 120. So honestly, for me, going from 60 to 120 is like the most insane thing ever. So I do really love it, but I will say that 4K is like, I don't know. I think at a certain point, like maybe past 4K, I don't know if I could tell the difference between 4K and 8K or 1440 and 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that for you, Adam, 4K is still a thing. Like for me at this point, I'm not really interested in pursuing that. I have a 4K monitor, but I really only use it for productivity. And honestly, to me, that's the better use case for it, especially as someone who is staring at information in a screen all day. But yeah, it makes sense for you though, because you are so detail focused.
Well, that, and yeah, I definitely invested in 4K early, and especially if for photo editing, to be able to see 1-to-1 pixels and things like that, it was like, oh, okay, that was really nice. I mostly got production monitors, not gaming monitors, and so yeah, back in those days, you couldn't push the high refresh rate. Now you can get both, which is awesome. But yeah, early on in the 4K stuff, it's like, hey, you get a lot of pixel density, you get a lot of really accurate color reproduction, but you're not going to get special features like VRR or high refresh rate, anything like that. And I kind of went down that path. But like I said, now you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, those. if you got plenty of money to spend, those 240 hertz 4K monitors, pair that with a 50 series DLSS 4 multi-frame gen thing, it gets incredible. But that's very high priced.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh,
I don't know
please.
about that,
We get
but-
next question coming in
Okay.
from Glenn Ma.
It's
over here.
completely like unrelated to anything, but since you guys are talking about Halo, did you guys ever notice that the crosshair was like ever so slightly below the middle of the screen in Halo? Did you guys ever notice that?
No.
Oh, I hate that.
I
That always
did.
bugged me.
How would you notice it though? Or you-
So I actually gonna be honest, I never played Halo when it was like a big thing. And over I think in like 2019, 2020, my friends got really into Hunt Showdown.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And that game always bugged me because I was like, there's something like very slightly off about this game. And it's that the crosshair is not centered in the middle of the screen. And apparently that's something that Halo also did. And it's like a console thing. I don't know why, but like that always bugged me. And I was wondering if you guys ever noticed.
I noticed it because I used to play the Xbox 360 quite a bit. That was actually long before I got into doing this as a job. I was the Xbox Gamer Spotlight, like one Christmas, one day kind of a deal. And I used to be cheesy as hell. I would play Gears of War competitively with my brother all the time, and we would draw. We would actually put tape on the screen where the crosshairs are at, so you could tell. Like I'm bent over behind this. I know where that's going to hit, kind of a deal. And then once that's on the TV, if you switch over to Halo, it's off. That's how I noticed it.
That's interesting. Okay.
I'm a filthy cheater.
Yeah, a friend of the show, Falcon Northwest, is in chat and says that's because you're tall, Glenn.
Well, apparently it's like a hitbox
Fair.
thing. That's what I found out. Apparently it's like a hitbox thing. It's like the bullets don't come out of your face; they come out of your chest. And it's like to prevent weird glitches. They put the camera in the head, but then the crosshair is lower, so it's like where the bullets actually like,
Okay.
it's like some weird thing like that.
I do remember hearing something about this.
How do I put this? I notice when the crosshair is in a different position, but I think I don't care enough because I don't play these games with as like many hours as everyone else's. So it's not like my muscle memory is trained in a certain way. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
right?
makes sense.
So for me, it's more of what bothers me is more if I feel like what's the word for it? The travel? Like the recoil on a gun, those kinds of things, like it doesn't match with what like I feel like the crosshair is trying to tell me. That's what bothers me.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we're gonna finish on getting the results of the poll. So I in the poll I put
Yeah, two. Right?
yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know
We
if I
had
can go
two.
back to the other one. I'm gonna scroll back for that one. Well, this one that I'm currently running right now is what do you primarily use while gaming at your desktop? So Brad, you're probably not watching the chat. What would you? So the three options are mouse, controller, or something else. What breakdown do you think our poll is at?
What breakdown do I think it's at? Mouse
I
and
don't-
keyboard, 70%.
Okay. Yeah. Glenn, have you been watching the poll?
I can only see,
look at it. No, you just looked at it.
Well, I can only see one thing.
Okay. Well, that gives you the info, though.
Well, I must say, how could you ever use a controller at a PC? Like you became the very thing you swore to destroy, man. This is like you're the Sith Lord right
He's
here.
still doing it.
I do it all the time. Adam's the far extreme end. But me, I work on my PC all day. I'm typing using my mouse. So if I'm not playing multiplayer, I'll sit here and I'll use my controller and play single player.
At least he's not
Play
typing on a controller. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, that would actually be pretty impressive.
That's why you buy a chat pad.
Yeah. Glenn, I'm going to say the same thing I said to your dad when he would bring up this argument, is that the great thing about the PC is that you can do whatever you want with it. You want to bring a controller, you want to bring a foot pad, do you want to bring a HOTAS system? You can
Trackball.
a trackball. You can do whatever you want with it. Consoles, you're just stuck with just a controller. So, like
Technically not anymore.
I know, not anymore. But, that's why the PC is awesome, is because you have the freedom to choose whatever you want.
So why would you choose a controller though? Like you did all that, you built that whole PC, got the 5090, and you're using a controller, man.
There's some games that feel better on controller, I think.
Yeah.
I
Of course.
think
Even
that
Gordon would
I
attest
do
to that.
think though that it is wild because it's always wild to me when I see somebody playing a platformer with mouse and keyboard. To me, that seems very unnatural to me. Not to say that it is generally unnatural, but like for my muscle memory, it just seems so weird to me. But I've known people, for them, it is absolutely natural because they've only ever used mouse and keyboard. So they just figured out, like, this is how I play platformers with this particular, input system.
And that's the thing for me. I grew up a console person, 100%. So controllers, and I would argue with your dad too, like I'm better at a controller than a mouse and keyboard, because he would always say, oh no, if you sit down in front of a mouse and keyboard, then you're automatically going to be that much better and more competitive. And I'm like, no, because number one, I know the controller, I know how it works. Mouse and keyboard, I don't have the muscle memory. So while technically mouse and keyboard has a higher ceiling, if I sat down and like actually used it for years, like where I'm at with the controller is still far superior compared to mouse and keyboard for where I'm at, just because that's my jam. So yeah. Anyway,
I'm just good at everything. I just had to throw that out there.
Boom. There you go. Brad,
go.
good at everything.
Do I get to make a prediction?
I mean, I think you're looking at the number.
It's
hidden.
It's hidden.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What do you think the number's at?
What were my options again?
Mouse, controller, or something else.
Oh,
I will say there is,
like who's winning, or like what the actual percentages are?
Yeah. Try to guess the percentages.
Oh, guess the percentages.
I mean, yeah, we know who's winning, but
I'm gonna say probably very similar to Brad. I would say around 70% for mouse, probably like 20%, 20 to 25% for controller, and then maybe like a small margin for other.
okay. Yeah, actually, you guys are right on. So mouse is at 67%. Controllers at 27%.
Thank you, Brad.
And 6 is at something else.
That's me. I'm in that group.
There you go. So, like, I do think that is pretty interesting that a quarter of the people who took this poll are saying they're sitting at their desktop using a controller. So it's not as weird as you would think it is.
Actively? They're
Maybe,
in the chat. With
maybe
the
they're
controller.
lying. Maybe they're lying. They are in the
Hey,
chat.
you know what? No judgment. No
They
judgment.
got the fancy old school typing pad that you used to be able to get for the Xbox 360 controller.
Oh,
What's the
dude,
problem
that was
here?
awesome. Yes. It went
I
into
used
the
to
headphone
smack
jack.
Talk.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the
So
chat
well.
pad.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you were talking
I have
about.
the
Okay.
chat pad. I
Yeah.
have them.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Haven't
So
seen
it was essentially a chat pad that would slot into the section in here, in the middle, and plug
Oh.
into the port that was here is a proprietary port with the headphone jack.
Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially you could have the controller and then a chat pad.
Yeah.
Below.
So if you needed to send someone a trash talk message, it was just that much more efficient.
I thought you sent like voice messages. You
Hey,
like scream
you
at
could do
them.
that as
Back in our
Xbox
day,
Live.
we didn't have headsets with microphones. on,
When
on
Halo
controller.
2 and Halo first came out, it was all either voice with your group or it was you could text with other people over the group chat. And you'd have to use the pop-up keyboard. So I had that chat pad. I'd be sitting here typing paragraphs of smackdowns on people. It
And
was
you still
great.
have that?
Dude, it was
that good.
revolutionary when we all found out. I forgot it was Xbox 360 or the first like
It's
Xbox
360,
One.
yeah.
No. That
Oh.
where you could plug in. I think it was the Xbox One, where you could plug in a just standard USB keyboard because you're like, yes, I can now trash talk that much faster.
Right. Yeah, it was only used for things like that. You couldn't use it to
Oh.
game, but you could use it to type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have that like communication thing. What I had was Skype, I think. Like in the pre-Discord days, it was
Classic.
Skype, and I wasn't old enough to be on like TeamSpeak or whatever. So we would have like this big group chat of 10 people, and you would like call the entire group chat when you wanted to play Minecraft.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
I got a back in my day story real quick.
All right, let's
Back
go.
in my day, I was actually a semi-pro Halo 2 player on the Xbox. I was or Xbox 360. I was pretty good at it. But the reason I got so good at it was because it was cheaper to buy an Xbox and Xbox Live subscription to talk with my Marine brother stationed in Arizona than it was to pay long-distance phone calls. So we got an Xbox, did Xbox Live, and it saved like $50 a month over actually
Nice.
calling them. So we both got really good at Halo. Just using the
There you go.
Nice.
I like that. I like that. Well, hopefully one day I'm going to get really good at outros. So check back next week for your fix of PC Talk here on The Full Nerd. To watch us live, you can go over to the Full Nerd Network on PC on YouTube and tune in 10:30-ish a.m. Pacific time every Tuesday. We will be there with a new podcast dropping. But if you can't join us live, that's okay. You can check out the video on YouTube. You can check out the video version on Spotify. Hopefully soon Apple Podcasts. But we've also got the audio version and all the RSS feeds. If you just want to listen to us, that's okay too. We have a newsletter, the Full Nerd Network or actually, it's just the Full Nerd newsletter written by one Alex Barrow, can get delivered to your inbox every Friday if you go to pcworld.com/newsletters with an S. pcworld.com/newsletters. You got the Full Nerd newsletter. You got Boost Mode. You got Safe Mode that Elena writes.
That's me.
We got what are the other modes?
Smart mode.
Smart
we
mode.
got that's productivity. We got prompt mode, which will help you practically use AI if you're trying to wrap your head around all that. So we got newsletters for everything.
Deals, all
Yeah,
tips
got
and
deals,
tricks, all
tips
that
and
kind
tricks.
of stuff.
We got to try this. It's called. It's
Yeah, Sam does
you know
a
here's
great job with
300
that.
words, just a little app or a little website. You should try it. Go try this.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And yeah, if you want to hear about some hot handheld conversation, I have a podcast called Expedition: Handheld, but you don't say the colon, you just think about it. Where you talk about.
I always think about it.
Well,
I got in a RG Rotate.
yeah, you've been fidgeting with that
Oh man, this
whole
is such
show.
a good fidget item. I tell you what.
You're gonna break that hinge.
No,
man.
no, they tested it for weirdos like me. Yeah, a lot of good stuff over there. I will bring the controller chat over to Expedition Handheld Datus because I think it's a handheld. It makes a little bit more sense over there. But yeah, what else we got going on? Oh yeah, flea market. Come say hi. And then yeah, we're freaking
Saturday.
That's
This
Saturday,
Saturday.
August 8th.
Good deals.
Yeah, deals.
So you can buy your 4090 to upgrade to your 4K 240 hertz. You know.
Yeah, there you go. 8K.
8K.
Yeah. Get your 8K on. And yeah, if you want to see cat pictures, go over to the Full Nerd Network Discord. And yeah, we'll check back next week. And until then, I want to thank Brad for joining us. Always a good time.
Best time of the week every week.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you, Elena, for drinking your cherry blossom. How is it?
It's cherry blossom LaCroix.
All right. And then definitely thank you to one Glenn Ma, kind of watching over the verticals and horizontals, making sure they're not
observing
going
them.
anywhere. Yeah. And thanks everybody for watching. We really appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna take it out of here. So bye.
See ya.
I'm gonna try manually doing the fader this time. So
Oh.
we'll see.
Luck.
Yeah, watch this. Okay. I'm just gonna bring that out. Nope,
Should
that
use
was
the
the wrong
controller to
fader.
do it.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Buy stuff
that.
this Saturday.